Matt, before we started, we were having a cup of coffee, and you said that you had a room of estate agents, and you asked them what they wanted, and most of them said more listings, higher fees,
Yeah.
knocking the online boys into touch. Do you think that's what agents really want?
Um, let's be honest. Most of the things that we think about are wrong. And what I mean by that is,
Wrong?
yeah, let me explain. Our thoughts are quite deceiving. So think about all of the things that are going on around you day to day. They program what you think, right? It's only when you have a clear mind you really get to the bottom of what really matters. Okay, so let's be honest. If I said to the guy, well, you can have all the listings in the town, you can charge 2%, and you can be the best and win all the awards, but if your marriage is up shit creek without a paddle, how would you feel? And
Not happy.
it might not quite work so well. So you've got to think about what's the most what's your purpose? What's your real purpose behind doing what you're doing? You know, for me, when I came out of Countrywide, I was working 70 hours a week, missing time with my family. The cost really of having a healthy relationship, not just with my wife but with myself. So, for example, I felt like crap. So spending more time feeling like crap's not a great thing. So I think when I decided to take control of my life and go into my own business, the biggest drive for me, the biggest purpose was to be in control.
This is your why.
This was my why. And I think people feel under pressure to think about a why that might mean something to that person, or is that what I need to do?
It's like an external story. So is that why people want the fancy cars and the fancy watches and the fancy houses?
Massively, yeah. I mean, all the things that don't, material stuff that really, if I said to you, Chris, take me back to the time where you felt the most amount of satisfaction, the most amount of joy or fulfillment.
With my family, experiences on holiday, drinking champagne near St Pancras.
Yeah, so it more often than not doesn't involve a watch or a house or a car.
No, it doesn't.
A lot of these things, it's nice to be able to have these things, but the biggest things that drive what I would consider to be the most successful people in growing businesses or in our particular field are the people that have a genuine intention to make a difference.
Okay.
And they genuinely want to improve the lives of themselves and their family, and in a healthy format. So spending time, those valuable years with your family, your children, your wife, whatever it might be, your partner. And for me, it's about having clarity around that. So when it comes to doing all of the things, the planning, the actions, the awkward conversations, the training, the learning, you're going to go and do it because it's relevant to you achieving more of what you really need and what you really want. And I think what people do is they put profits, numbers, and stuff that's really logic driven rather than emotional driven things in front of them.
Do you think that's estate agents, or do you think that's just generally the world?
Well, everyone's being conditioned to look at other people and go, oh, I wish I've got what they've got. Well, most of what those people are promoting is bollocks anyway. They're trying to sell something off the back of it. It's a story which might have some truth, but most of it's going in towards a funnel. But
I mean, what motivates you?
For me, it's what I've just had, which is a holiday without interruption for 2 weeks. So I remember I used to go on holiday with a BlackBerry and the family, not the family, and no BlackBerry or no iPhone. I'd be sitting there twitching by the side of a pool going, oh, God, check my emails. Good God. I worked at a large corporate where your boss expected you to look at your emails during your holiday and during your break. And by the way, if this resonates with anybody who's watching this video, then you need to consider where you are. What worked for me was my wife saying to me, well, I'm fed up with you worrying about going back to work. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you just spend the whole time on holiday worrying and you look like you're just constantly in another place. You're not with us. So my why was to have, which I've had now, I think 10 or 11 breaks without any technology. So you're actually immersed in family time, relationship time, and you're present. And that gives you the feelings that you really need that are of fulfillment. And they're the things that I started my business for. So yeah, Yeah, completely. And if I can extend that from when it started, which was 1 holiday a year, to 2 holidays a year, to 2 holidays plus a weekend, to 3 holidays, and so on and so forth. So I can end up having more of that time. So I get more fulfillment with the right people, spending time. Time is your most valuable commodity, and who you spend it with is even more important than that. So if you can get that right, for me, in my life, I'm sure in many people's, they will have more fun.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.